The most devastating question in the history of prophetic literature has shattered the foundations of everything we believed about destiny itself. Why is the hero of destiny aging backwards when absolutely nothing in the ancient foretelling ever mentioned this terrifying possibility? The keepers of sacred prophecy are in complete chaos as they watch their chosen savior transform from a battle-hardened champion of 32 years into what appears to be a confused 26-year-old who can barely remember how to wield the legendary weapons he mastered just weeks ago. But here's what will make your blood run cold. Every single oracle, every mystical seer, every divine prophet who foresaw his coming is now admitting they may have been reading the signs completely wrong for the past 3,000 years. If you want to understand what really happens when prophecy collides with impossible reality and discover the forbidden secrets that the temple guardians have been hiding about the true nature of heroic destiny, subscribe to the channel, leave your like and comment below if you've ever wondered whether the ancient seers actually knew what they were talking about. The weight of this cosmic mystery becomes even more terrifying when you realize the sheer scale of what's been predicted about this particular hero of destiny. Unlike other chosen champions throughout history, this savior was supposed to be different. The crystal prophecies of Mount Asteria, carved by the last living dragons before they retreated to the ethereal realm, described in excruciating detail how this hero would emerge as a fully formed champion, blessed with the accumulated wisdom of ages and the physical prowess necessary to face the ultimate darkness that threatens to devour not just our world, but the entire multiverse. The prophecies were so specific, they mentioned the exact shade of his eyes during moments of divine inspiration, the precise number of scars he would bear from his training in the Forbidden Valleys, even the way his voice would carry across battlefields to inspire courage in the hearts of the most terrified soldiers. But nowhere, in 3 millennia of scholarly interpretation, did anyone find even the slightest hint that this unstoppable force of salvation would start getting younger instead of growing stronger. But what you're about to discover will completely shatter your understanding of how prophecy actually works. Hidden in the deepest vaults of the Observatory of Eternal Watching, there exists a collection of documents known as the Paradox Codex. These texts, written in a language that predates human civilization, contain what scholars are calling counter-prophecies, predictions that describe what happens when the original foretelling encounters forces that were never supposed to exist in our reality. According to the Paradox Codex, there are moments in cosmic history when the universe experiences what ancient texts call destiny fractures, points where their predetermined path of fate encounters something so fundamentally impossible that reality itself begins to rewrite the rules. The de-aging of our hero of destiny appears to be exactly this kind of fracture, a crack in the foundation of predetermined fate that's allowing something unprecedented to bleed through into our world. And then the impossible became even more disturbing. Witnesses at the Great Convocation of Seers reported that when the hero reached his apparent age of 25, he began speaking in languages that haven't been used for over 2,000 years. More chilling still, he started referencing events from alternative timelines, wars that never happened in our reality, victories achieved by heroes who never existed in our dimension, defeats suffered by darkness that was never defeated in our world. The implications of this are staggering beyond comprehension. The Council of Temporal Scholars now believes that as the hero de-ages, he's not just losing years from his current life. He's accessing memories and experiences from parallel versions of himself across infinite realities. Each day he grows younger, another layer of multiversal consciousness awakens within him, giving him knowledge of how this same cosmic drama has played out in countless other dimensions. But here's the revelation that will make you question everything you thought you knew about heroic destiny. According to emergency consultations with the Void Speakers, beings who can communicate directly with the spaces between realities, Our hero's de-aging is not an accident or a curse. It's a conscious choice being made by forces beyond even divine comprehension. Something is deliberately reversing his aging process because his adult consciousness, shaped by the experiences of this single reality, is apparently inadequate for the true challenge that awaits. Can you imagine the terror this revelation has unleashed among those who dedicated their lives to understanding prophecy? The greatest minds of our age are now confronting the possibility that everything they interpreted about the hero's destiny was based on incomplete information. Worse still, they're beginning to suspect that the de-aging process is preparing our champion for a battle that exists on levels of reality that adult human consciousness cannot even perceive. The signs of this cosmic preparation are becoming impossible to ignore. As the hero continues to grow younger, reality around him has begun exhibiting properties that defy every known law of physics and magic. Weapons that touch his skin temporarily gain the ability to cut through dimensional barriers. Armor worn in his presence develops protective enchantments that shield not just against physical attacks, but against assaults on the very concept of existence itself. But what happened during the ritual of seeking will leave you absolutely speechless. When the High Priestess of Prophetic Clarity attempted to divine the true purpose behind the hero's transformation, her sacred crystals didn't just crack, they began aging backwards as well. The ancient gems, some over 10,000 years old, started reverting to their original mineral state, as if time itself was unwinding around anything that tried to penetrate the mystery of our de-aging champion. The truth behind this phenomenon is far more complex and terrifying than anyone initially realized. Research teams dispatched to the ruins of the first prophet's temple discovered chambers that had been sealed for millennia, rooms containing what appeared to be multiple versions of the same prophecy written in different realities. In some versions, the hero arrives as an infant with cosmic awareness. In others, he emerges as an elderly sage who grows younger as he gains power. In the most disturbing variant, he cycles endlessly between youth and age, trapped in a temporal loop until he learns to exist simultaneously at all ages. According to the interdimensional archaeologists, these alternate prophecies suggest that our hero's de-aging is not unique to our reality. It's a phenomenon that occurs across multiple dimensions whenever the cosmic balance reaches a critical point. The hero must shed the limitations of linear aging to become something that transcends normal existence, a being that can operate simultaneously across all timelines and age states. But the enemies of light have not remained idle while this transformation unfolds. Intelligence gathered by the Shadow Hunters reveals that the Lords of Eternal Night have been preparing for this exact scenario for centuries. Ancient documents recovered from demonic fortresses contain detailed strategies for defeating a temporal champion, a hero whose power increases as he grows younger. The dark forces appear to have known about the de-aging process long before our own prophets discovered it was happening. What does this mean for the fate of everything we hold dear? The strategic implications are staggering. Traditional military tactics become useless when your champion might have the mind of a master strategist trapped in the body of a teenager who can barely lift his legendary sword. Diplomatic alliances crumble when allied kings question whether they should follow someone who looks increasingly like he belongs in a classroom rather than on a battlefield. Leave in the comments what you think the true purpose of this de-aging process might be, because the theories emerging from the research academies are becoming more mind-bending by the hour. The psychological impact on the hero himself has become a crisis that threatens to undermine the entire prophetic mission. Personal journals recovered from his private chambers reveal a consciousness fragmenting under the weight of temporal displacement. He writes about remembering futures that haven't happened yet, about missing memories of an adulthood that's slipping away from him day by day, about the growing confusion of possessing ancient wisdom in a mind that's becoming increasingly childlike. But perhaps most disturbing are his descriptions of dreams where he meets other versions of himself at different ages, all existing simultaneously in a vast cosmic waiting room. These other heroes tell him about the trials they faced in their respective realities. Some succeeded by embracing their youth, others failed by fighting against the de-aging process. According to his journal entries, they all warned him about the same thing. There comes a moment during the transformation when he must choose between maintaining his adult identity and accepting a completely new form of existence. The environmental effects of the hero's continued de-aging have begun, manifesting in ways that defy all previous understanding of how temporal magic works. The city where he resides now experiences what scholars are calling chronological weather, storms that age objects backward, sunshine that makes plants grow younger instead of older, rain that falls upward and returns to the clouds. The very fabric of local space-time is beginning to mirror the hero's temporal state. More alarming still, people who spend extended time in the hero's presence report their own memories becoming unstable. Some begin remembering childhoods they never experienced. Others lose the ability to form new memories, as if their consciousness is becoming stuck in temporal loops. The hero's de-aging appears to be creating a field of temporal instability that affects everything in his vicinity. According to emergency reports from the Institute of Reality Studies, the effect is spreading. The zone of temporal disruption around the hero has expanded from a few meters to several kilometers and continues growing daily. If this expansion continues at its current rate, the entire continent could be experiencing chronological chaos within months. Some theorists believe this spreading temporal field is not a side effect of the hero's transformation, but rather its true purpose: to prepare our entire reality for some kind of cosmic shift that requires everything to exist outside normal time. But what the Cosmic Observatory discovered will make you question the very nature of time itself. Their most advanced viewing instruments detected that the hero's de-aging is synchronized with similar events occurring in other galaxies, other universes, other dimensions of existence. This is not just a local phenomenon affecting our world's chosen champion. It's part of a multiversal event where heroes across infinite realities are all undergoing the same temporal reversal. Simultaneously, the implications of this discovery are almost too vast to comprehend. We're not just witnessing the de-aging of our hero of destiny. We're observing what appears to be a coordinated cosmic event designed to reset heroic champions across all of existence. Something is orchestrating a multiversal transformation of every reality's chosen savior, preparing them for a challenge that apparently requires heroes who exist outside the normal flow of time. Ancient texts found in the ruins of the civilization of tomorrow, a lost culture that apparently existed in our world's future before somehow traveling back to the past, contain references to what they call the Great Temporal Convergence. According to these impossible documents, there comes a point in cosmic evolution when all realities face a threat that cannot be defeated by conventional heroes bound to linear time. The only solution is to transform chosen champions into beings that can operate across multiple temporal states simultaneously. The texts describe heroes who become chronological bridges, entities that exist as children, adults, and elders simultaneously, able to access the unique strengths of each age state while transcending the limitations of linear existence. According to these future-past records, our de-aging hero is not losing his adult capabilities. He's preparing to gain access to power levels that only become available when someone can exist at all ages at once. But here's where the prophecy takes a turn that will leave you completely stunned. The civilization of tomorrow texts don't describe this transformation as a blessing or a divine gift. They describe it as the most terrifying sacrifice any hero could be asked to make. To become a chronological bridge, the hero must surrender his linear identity completely, becoming something that is simultaneously everyone he was, is, and could be across all possible timelines. The personal cost of this transformation appears to be the complete dissolution of individual consciousness as we understand it. The de-aging hero won't just become younger. He'll become a living intersection point where infinite versions of himself from across the multiverse converge into a single entity. He'll possess the memories, skills, and wisdom of every possible version of his existence, but at the cost of losing any sense of singular identity. Intelligence. Reports from the Watchers at the edge of reality confirm that the forces of darkness understand exactly what's happening to our hero. They're not trying to stop his de-aging process. They're trying to corrupt it. If they can introduce even a tiny amount of shadow essence into the hero during his transformation, they can turn him into a chronological bridge that serves darkness instead of light. The entire multiversal event could be reversed, creating infinite realities ruled by shadow instead of hope. The final phase of the de-aging process is approaching faster than anyone anticipated. Calculations by the Temporal Mathematics Division indicate that the hero will reach the critical convergence point, the moment when he becomes a true chronological bridge, in exactly 9 days. But the assembled forces of darkness will reach our last strongholds in 7 days. We're facing a scenario where the ultimate battle for all existence will be fought by a hero who may not even fully understand what he's becoming, but what the secret archives of unspoken prophecies revealed will change everything. You thought you knew about this cosmic drama, buried in texts so forbidden that even mentioning their existence was once punishable by exile. Researchers found references to previous chronological bridges throughout cosmic history. Some succeeded in their transformation and saved their multiversal cluster from destruction. Others were corrupted during the process and became instruments of universal annihilation. Most disturbing of all, the texts suggest that the success or failure of a chronological bridge depends not on the hero's strength, wisdom, or purity of heart, but on whether the people of his reality can accept and support someone who is no longer bound by normal existence. Heroes who were rejected or feared by their own people during transformation inevitably became corrupted, their infinite power turning toward destruction instead of salvation. The documents describe reality clusters where populations couldn't accept their de-aging heroes, where fear and confusion led to abandonment and betrayal. In every case, the rejected chronological bridge became a force of multiversal destruction, their transformed power serving to unravel the very existence they were meant to protect. The texts make it clear that our hero's success depends as much on our acceptance of his impossible transformation as it does on his own strength and determination. This revelation has created unprecedented division among the hero's supporters. The acceptance faction argues that everyone must embrace the hero's transformation completely, supporting him regardless of how strange or frightening he becomes. The resistance faction believes that helping him fight against the de-aging process is the only way to preserve his humanity and effectiveness. The adaptation faction seeks a middle ground, trying to help the hero find ways to control and direct his transformation rather than simply accepting or resisting it. But time for debate is running out. The hero's de-aging has accelerated dramatically in recent days. He now appears to be approximately 19 years old and continues growing younger at an increasing rate. His consciousness flickers between childlike wonder at the world around him and moments of cosmic awareness that terrify even the bravest witnesses. He speaks in riddles that seem nonsensical until scholars realize he's describing events occurring simultaneously across multiple realities. The most recent developments in the hero's transformation have pushed the crisis to its breaking point. Yesterday, for the first time since the de-aging began, the hero completely forgot who he was for several hours. He wandered the halls of the fortress calling for his mother, playing with toys that materialized from nowhere, apparently existing as a normal child with no memory of his cosmic destiny. Only when the evening stars appeared did his adult awareness return, bringing with it a look of terror at what he was becoming. But perhaps most chilling was what he said when his cosmic consciousness returned. "I met myself today. The child I'm becoming already knows what I haven't learned yet." He told me that growing younger isn't about losing who I am. It's about becoming who I always was across every possible existence. The battle isn't just coming. It's always been happening. I'm just finally young enough to fight it properly. The final revelations about the hero's true destiny will leave you questioning everything you believed about the nature of heroism, time and reality itself. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next episodes where we'll explore the most shocking discoveries about what happens when heroes transcend linear existence and how the success or failure of our chronological bridge could determine the fate of infinite realities. Leave your like if this investigation into impossible prophecy has changed how you think about destiny, and comment with your theory about whether our hero will successfully complete his transformation or be corrupted by forces beyond imagination. The countdown to cosmic convergence has begun, and everything depends on whether we can accept a hero who defies every assumption we've ever made about what a savior should be. The multiverse watches, eternity waits, and somewhere in the space between child and God, our de-aging hero prepares for a battle that will determine whether infinite realities survive or fall to darkness eternal.